Hello, fellow hams and YouTubers. So, HF for preppers. So let's imagine that it's the post-apocalyptic world. You know, civilization has broken down. Disease has led to the zombie apocalypse. Or more likely, some crazy political leader somewhere has pushed the button, unleashed the bomb, and civilization as we know it now has been decimated, destroyed. This is the scenario that many preppers plan for. A lot of them for communications, you know, they like the little VHF radios or UHF radios, family radio service, ham, or CB, you know, or any of that kind of stuff. And those are great for short-range communication, you know, a couple of miles, 3 miles maybe, or 4. But, you know, you also want HF. You want to be able to tell what's happening in the rest of the world. You want to be able to talk to maybe other groups that have survived elsewhere in the country or other countries, you know. So HF is still kind of important. And with HF, you have the problem of antennas. Now, HF antennas are fairly long generally. You know, there's all kinds of designs that are out there that are quick and easy to set up, end-fed wires, verticals, the classic dipole. But they do take time to set up. And if you're traveling around living in a mobile home or a van and occasionally holding up in an abandoned house somewhere, you don't really want to spend the time, an hour or so, wrangling a wire up into a tree just for an HF antenna. You want something quicker than that. And well, I'm here to tell you, there's already HF antennas in place. Almost everywhere. Hundreds of feet long, maybe thousands of feet long. It's already there. All you need to do is plug in. Now this is an old telephone patch cord. You can see where I'm going with this. So the telephone industry, up until about 10 years ago, used a lot of copper wire. There were wires running out to every house, and each of those pair of wires were individual and ran all the way back to a switching center somewhere, a switching office. So there was a pair of copper wires coming to your house that was hundreds of feet, if not thousands of feet long. And that stuff still exists. Now here in my neighborhood, copper's been dead for about 8 years or so. In fact, here's a picture of the box up on the pole behind my house. Now that cover blew off a couple of years ago in a storm, and the squirrels have been tearing the wires up. The phone company still hasn't fixed it. You know why they haven't fixed it? It's not in use. It's been dead. Everybody has gone mostly to these, of course, or in my case, for example, my internet provider, which is fiber optic, also provided a phone line, but that's patched in right there at the terminal on the back of the house. So the copper wire is no longer in use, but it's still there. They haven't cleaned it out. And in many areas, that's the case. The copper wires are still there, still coming to the back of the house. In a lot of cases, those wires will be patched into the wiring still within the house, and all you would need is a little phone cord like this, set up to an antenna connector, to patch into an existing wall jack sitting right there in the house. Boom, you're on the air. In my case, the in-house wires have been disconnected long ago and connected to the fiber box. But we're going to go out back and we're going to plug in to the existing copper wire that still comes to the house with a little shortwave radio, and we're going to see how well it receives. This is the box at the back of my house where the old phone line comes in. Now, this is the wire coming up into the box, and inside of here there are 2 patch points with test jacks. Now I have made up a wire, which is an RJ45 or RJ11 telephone connector on one end, and all I did on the other end is I patched the 2 wires together to an antenna connector that I can plug into my Grundig shortwave receiver here on the antenna port, like so. So what we're going to do is I'm going to plug into the old telephone line, and now this should be my HF antenna. I'm going to bring the camera over and zoom in on the radio, and we're going to do a couple of quick reception tests. Alright, so here's WWV on 15 megahertz, and it's quite weak, about S6. I'm going to plug in the telephone line. And as you can see, we went to nothing. What did I plug it into? The headphone jack. Mistake. Plug it into the antenna. And we're full scale, S9. Let's go down to the amateur band. As you can see, nothing about an S3 noise level, but hardly any signal. Plug into the phone line. We're getting S7, S8 on that guy.
You guys need to really work on that Huntsville idea, because that's one of the ham fast.
Just the wire, which is still a decent antenna. I'm barely hearing him at all. I plug into the phone line.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that, I think.
One guy's about S5, the other guy was about S9.
I
Okay, so with just the wire, I'm on low sensitivity. I can turn the radio on high sensitivity. I'm getting this guy S5, S6 noise level with him right at the noise. Let's plug into the phone line. And we're at full scale, S9, S10 over S9. It's a massive, massive improvement. Pretty cool. So there you go. It receives quite well. Can you transmit on it? Well, technically, sure, you can. I thought about it for about a second for this video, and I thought, nah, you know, the copper wires still go down to all my neighbors' houses. The phone company still exists, even though the wires are dead and no longer in use. They still own them. I'm not going to take a chance on ticking off the wrong people publicly on YouTube, committing what could be an illegal act. Nah, I'm not going to do it. But in the post-apocalyptic future, civilization is broken down. Can you transmit on it? Sure. You've got hundreds or thousands of foot of wire. It's basically a beverage antenna, or a really long piece of end-fed wire. You take your antenna tuner, you know, you just plug it in, load it up, and you could transmit on it, of course. So there you go. HF antennas that are already there, ready for you to use in the post-apocalyptic future. All you need to do is plug in. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, click to subscribe. Join us on the Facebook channel for discussion about the videos. And if you'd like to help support this channel, please click to support me on my Patreon page.